Hello, students. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you can see the screen properly, students, can I get a confirmation? Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Now, students, if you observe, today you are going to get an induction session about the organization. And students, I told you just to have an idea about the SWOT of the industry. And don't worry, students, when you do it by your own and when we do the reconciliations in the class, it will effectively be easy for you to understand as well. Now, students, if you observe your company induction session, I'm not effectively going into the industry because industry can be our next class. But today, let's learn about how our company operates and how our businesses work. So, students, my first question to you all is your role. Students, if you do not mind, can you please tell me, students, what is your role in our organization? Can someone use the chat box, students? What is the role in your organization? Who are you? That is very, very important. And I assume that the role for you this time is a finance manager. Correct me if I'm wrong. So your role is finance manager. And students, just to be professional, we need to be able to understand our superior. So we need to be very much aware about reporting to. So students, who are we reporting to? That is very, very important, students. We are reporting to Power It, Power It, Power It, Chotsin. Correct, no, students? And he is the senior finance manager. And students, when you go to the strategic case study, your role will be Power It's role. You will be promoted. So students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with your role that you are a finance manager reporting to Power It Chotsin? Can I get a confirmation, students? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Excellent. Really appreciate it. Now, students, the next thing, if I'm not mistaken, it's not going to be tough. Our company profile. Because when you get into an organization, firstly, you need to know what is your role, and then we need to understand our company profile. So just to make your life easy, I'm just going to summarize it so that it's easy to understand. Now, we have to summarize a short story. And we know that our organization was founded in 1964. Correct? 1964 founded by whom, students? Cup family. Now, you need to understand the rationale behind why this is known as Cuppcar. And currently, the reason behind that is it's a family-owned business during the founded era. So I believe that is the story in the beginning. And then slowly this company grew. They slowly grew to 40 dealerships because you need to know this statistic very, very well. They slowly went to 40 dealerships. And once they went to 40 dealership, students, if I'm not mistaken, they have a strong reputation as well. Correct, no, students? Slowly they build a strong reputation in our country. What is the country we are operating in? It is Welland, which is using W dollars. And we also use IFRSs as well in the financial statements. Now, during this time, our company was not listed. It was a family business. And then, students, if you observe, what happened was the company got listed in 1998. Listed. And the family sold the stake. Now, you have to be skepticism. You have to ask a question. Who are the current stakeholders or current shareholders? Because have they given any information on who are the current shareholders, students? Did you get any information with regards to who are the current shareholders? Yes or no? Can I quickly get a confirmation from the chat box, students, if you have analyzed it? Did we get anything related to who are the current shareholders? I don't think so. There were nothing given relating to that. Who are the current shareholders? We don't know. So that can be an exam question as well on corporate governance. So just keep in mind, and I'll guide you all that step by step. So I believe that everyone is slowly clear with this. Now, students, if I'm not mistaken, currently, now let's come to the current situation. How many dealership we have? 214 dealership. Currently, how many dealership students? 214 dealerships. And the number of staffs are also high of 225,000 25,000 staffs. Shall we do a small mathematics? 25,000 divided by 214 dealership. What will be the calculated amount? If you do not mind, I can help you with the numbers. It's not so complicated. I think someone can guide me. If possible, I'll just finish the calculation. That is, if I'm not mistaken, 25,000, you divide it by 214. So per dealership, there are around 117 staffs. In simple language, they have around how many staff, students? 117 staffs. Are you understanding that number count? So students, if you observe 117 staff is a big number. Agree, no, students? The number is very large, very huge also. So I have a question for the students, nothing to be analyzing. So one thing, students, we can have HR issues. Correct me if I'm wrong. HR issues. And also there can be situations on redundancy as well. The reason is why. You need to ask me that question, why? Why is students online? Emergence, emergence of e-commerce. Emergence of e-commerce. Correct, no, students, if I'm not mistaken. Now, emergence of e-commerce is one biggest challenge. Because students, if you observe, day by day, people are using e-commerce in the industry. They are growing very fast. They are making decisions on that. So there are chances that our website will become very strong in the future as well. Correct? If I'm not mistaken. So students, the next thing that we have to have an idea is that we have a competitor also. Students, can someone remember the name of the competitor? Who is our competitor? Because I'm giving you the slowly we are going into our business. The name of our competitor, anyone? The name of our competitor is Milpro Motors. What motors? Milpro Motors. So students, I believe that you are getting that clarity properly here. Can I get a confirmation from your students if you are okay with the main applications, because these are very, very important because you are getting trained into the organization. You are getting adapted into the business. Now, students, just to make sure even it is very clear, so I'll just write down here. Our dealerships are in the main road. That is one thing. They are in the main road, or they have also mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, motorway junctions. So we are a little bit, I can say, high end also. And with regards to revenue, we are one of the largest. With regards to revenue, we are largest. We are largest. Correct, no, students? With regards to revenue. And students, these are the main fundamentals that we have understood. Now, students, in this basics, do you have any questions? In case if I had missed anything, feel free to ask me. But my question is, do you have any issues with this basics? This is very, very important. Can I get a confirmation? Can I go to the next area, students? Can I go to the next area, students? If you are comfortable with the story and the current resources we have, wonderful. Now, children, I'm coming to the next one, our services. Now, you have to understand this is a new trend in the CIMA exams, where they are not giving standalone services like earlier. Now, if you see the previous case study also, can you remember Happywell? And they had different services, airline, so many things were there. Now, here, I really appreciate the examiner or the case writer. He has designed it practically and not confusing to the students. Now, if I'm not mistaken, one thing they have is called new car sales. Again, observe the term, students, new car sale. Very easy to understand as well. New car sales. Then they have something called used car sales. That is also, they have that option. They sell the brand new cars. They also sell the used car as well. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, the next thing they have is parts and services. They also give parts and what, students? Services. And the other one is they have something called finance and insurance as well. So students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with the services portfolio? Because this is one important thing that every student need to understand. And this we can predict the question paper also. The prediction is not so complicated. The prediction is very simple because they are following the same trend for the current situation for a long period of time. I believe everyone is clear and there is nothing to worry at the moment as well. Now, students, I'll just take you, if I'm not mistaken, students, our business dashboard. Now, you see our business dashboard, students. The revenue, if you observe, 41% of the revenue comes from new car. Then 35% comes from the used car. Then the parts and service, then the insurance, finance and insurance. But if you observe the profits what we make, if you see, the new cars is the less profit because bargaining power is with the producer. Because producer may have terms and condition, everything. But when it comes to the used car, you are buying at a lower price and you're selling at a better price. So effectively, you are making some profit margin comparatively with the new cars. Similarly, parts and services, the profit margin is very high and appreciable as well. And then students, if you observe the finance and insurance also, if you see just 21%, it's a good contribution. So what I can observe is this after sale service is the unique service. Because students, if you observe, if you want to differentiate your business, why do people buy cars from your dealership? Is mainly because of after sales service. So I believe that the students are very clear on this. Any questions you like to ask, you can ask me. But if you observe this, this is the chart they are giving. So in simple language, students, I'm going back to the explanation. So I'll just come to the explanation here. If I'm not mistaken, this parts and services is effectively 35% GP margin. Agree? And when coming to the used car, it is 24% as usual. And the new car is only 20%. And the finance and insurance is 21% when you see the gross profits. And the revenue contributions, if you observe, the new cars anyway generates the highest revenue, and that is practical also because people will always go for a new car in special places like this. And then you see students slowly, the used car is effectively 35%. Used car is again 35% with regards to revenue. And the parts and services is 17%. It is 17% with regards to revenue. And the finance and insurance is 7%. Is how much? 7% with regards to revenue. Now, students, I'll write down here details. And if I am not mistaken, I will also write down here the GP margin. That means the gross profit margin. And here I'm going to write down as what, students? Revenue. Now, as a finance manager, you have to be very much aware of all these things. But technically speaking, students, technically speaking, if you observe, one of the critical reason people choose a dealer is not only because of their car. I believe that most of you all are aware that's not only because of their car, but effectively because of their after sales service what they are providing. Correct? So can I write down here the after sales service? The after sales what, students? Service. The after sales service can be considered as well. Can be what, students? Considered as well, since many consumers prefer to have a good service center, to have a good service center. And if you've gone through the case study, students, that is one of the reason our business is doing very, very well. But our underperforming section is this. Finance and insurance is our underperforming section. So do you observe here the gray color one? So I'll just write a note for that so that it is easy for you. The finance and insurance is the underperforming segment. It's the what, students? It's the underperforming segment. Reason, the buyer has the option to use finance from an independent entity. That means not only from your types, anyone who has money can buy this. So effectively, you do not have much dominance in this region. So students, are you clear with that, students? Are you clear with that? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with that? Excellent. Thank you, students. Thank you very much, students. And I believe this is giving you a better understanding and a better clarity at the moment. So firstly, this is the important thing. So exam day, examination focus, the questions will be based on these areas. So don't worry about that. Now, students, let's go through our car sales in detail so that you will understand it very, very well. Now, just imagine I am your senior manager and I am teaching you all these things. So, car sales initially for new cars, not for the used cars, for the new cars. Now, students, I just want to give you the terminologies that you have to keep in your mind. One terminology is Barto Motors. Barto Motors. Students, they have around 370 dealership in our country. That is well known. And students, of this 317, 17 dealership is with whom? Cuppcar. That is our company. And students, the general rule is 5 miles distance. There needs to have a 5 miles distance from this. And another thing is in the central city, there are 6 showrooms. There are 6 showrooms of this brand, and of which 2 is Cuppcar in the main area. Now, students, this is an important thing that you have to keep in mind, because if you are selling Bata Motors vehicle within your dealership, you can't sell any other company products with this. So these places where it is there should be exclusively for this vehicle. And the other one, it is something called the Limolux. Limolux. Now, students, Limolux, if you observe, students, it's a luxury car. Even that is also sold within our organization as a separate entity. And sometimes, if you are able to sell the cars on time, you get something called manufacturer bonus based on the units sold. Based on what, students? Units sold. So students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with the two names? One is the Bato Motors and the other one is what, students? The Limo Lux. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you got that clarity behind that? Excellent, and thank you very much, students. Now, I want to focus on the next thing to make yourself very much confident. The next thing that I am effectively focusing is exam question. Now, you are now becoming very much familiar to our business. Exam question is partnership with a new car manufacturer. Partnership with a new, what, students? Car manufacturer. Students, can this be a future exam question? Can I get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box? Can I get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box if you are able to understand this point of view? Yeah, right, students. Partnership with a new question. It's very, 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 very possible. Very, very possible area. So that time I will teach you on how you have to think. But at the moment, let's focus on how you have to analyze the case study. Let's focus on how you have to analyze the case study. And when we come into that detailed level application, let's come into that more and more in details. I believe everyone has got the stability on thinking at the moment. Now, students, the next thing, this is very, very important for you to understand. Now, I have to train you all specially on our operational functions. So I'm going to write down here, students, operational functions. Operational functions. That means now in the new sales, how is the functions handled? Now, if you observe, I'll just make sure it is properly in line and it is easy for you to understand. One thing is known as the presentation. One thing is known as what, students? Presentation. One thing is known as presentation. Now, students, very practically, I am asking you, when someone comes into our showroom, there needs to be a presentation. In simple language, I can say ambience and service. And I think you can visualize a car sale also. You would have seen it's a properly tiled. People will be nice to you, professionally dressed. They call you, everything. So they have a receptionist, if I'm not mistaken, as usual, but receptionist. And that person should welcome the people. And then we have sales executives. And a biggest challenge, if I'm not mistaken, is they need to know the product details. That means they have to explain this to the people. And emails and voicemails needs to be answered within the day. Students, now this is the process. Now let's analyze what are the application that we can do in the exam. Now, students, receptionist is there. Anyway, we have to keep her. But the sales executives, what we can do is we can have a person, but we can automate the details. Example, students, there is a small screen where all the information about the car, the frequently asked question, everything has been answered. And the next thing is they're having this email and voicemail reply only, but they had to be so much present in the social media as well. Because social media, if you see students, a lot of car pages are there, and people are effectively focusing on that. Social media, all these things. And they can have the chatbot function also. No, students, can I get that confirmation from you all? The chatbot function is also there. So can I get a confirmation from you all? I'm getting something. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So that is one thing. Now, students, slowly, let's go to the other one. The second process is known as the customer care. Now, you may have an idea about the customer care and the presentation. Presentation is effectively the ambience you create when someone walks into your store. But customer care is effectively after sales service. That is only the workshops comes in. But their after sales service is perfect. They're tracking the people, they're asking a lot of things, and they're giving discounts also, if I'm not mistaken, in simple language. So that is one thing. After sales service, washing and polishing. So these things are effectively a good thing for an organization like us. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, the next thing is pricing. Now here we will have some challenges because we give discounts. We give discounts to compete. And sometimes we can make a loss. But the manufacturers, in simple language students, the manufacturers volume target is satisfied because this is very important that they give you a particular volume and you have to dispose that volume in order to renew your authorized dealership. So sometimes they sell it at a loss in order to secure that. But we don't know. Technology is emerging very fast. So there are chances that there will be something even better than the next one. Inventory available. Now, students, inventories are cars, and sometimes cars are transferred from one dealer to another. Now, examination point of view, there is an area called transfer pricing. I'll write down here, students, transfer pricing. Now, transfer pricing is an examination area which it can come also. Because they are having that inventory availability. And this will be a sure question, data analysis. Now, again, students, CIMA is effectively going towards the digital disruptions nowadays. And I believe that everyone is very much aware about what is taking place in the market. Now, data analytics, they are mentioning business intelligence, if I'm not mistaken, and they have given something called a big data analysis also. Big data analysis, data mining is given. But in the examination, they may ask you how we are going to use these. So can I write down here, students, the usage of this, the usage of this models to Cuppcar will be asked. To Cuppcar will be asked. Can I get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box, students? Can I get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box if you are able to understand that perspective properly? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And the next one, they are purposely giving, but I must do it in the class also, which everyone's favorite topic, that is fleet leasing. Now, students, that is IFRS 16, which is a lease, the fees leasing. So they are giving their model at the moment. Now, if you want 5 cars or more, you can go for 2 years operating lease. So that is one more thing also, students. So lease is also one more factor to be considered. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? So these are the options they have at the moment. And don't worry, students, since you are getting these ideas step by step clearly, you will be finding it very easy also to manage the situation. Now, the operational function for the car sales of the new cars are completely over. Now, let's come to the next one. Car sales, used car. Again, students, your fundamentals are very strong. Again, I'm going through the fundamentals. Presentation, customer care, pricing, inventory, data, and fleet leasing. Now, students, if you observe, this service yields the highest. Gross profit. Practically, yes. And they have given the value, if I'm not mistaken, is $3,146. This was the profit. But I believe that the students are very clear that used car, there will be a second-hand market. So can I write down here, students, second-hand market? Now, students, Toyota, everything, the dealers make more money in the second-hand market, not in the brand new market. Because in the second-hand market, the dealers can buy it at a lower price and sell it at a higher price after doing some modifications. So here is our one of the business that we make. So students, if you observe, I just want to come to this in detail, how the used car function they have segregated in our case study. Can we work on that? Of course, we can work on that. The first thing is students' presentation. Now, if you observe, you also may have that question of doubt, why are they doing like this? The same dealer store, but a different section. So they are having it in the same, but in a different section. Everyone is clear with that. Everyone is clear with that. Now, the same sales executives are only used. So the same people come for this, who are there in the previous one. Now the question arises is, can there be discrimination? And can there be bonus targets? Because the same guy is selling both the products, so bonus targets is needed. And communication skill is also needed, if I'm not mistaken, in these areas. And I believe that is very, very clear for you as well. And they have display mentioned outside as well for these used vehicles. I don't think any issues with that. Then the next factor is the quality standard. So here there can be customer complaints. This can be a potential trigger. The reason why I'm saying there can be customer complaints is, you also know, I also know, when you're buying a second-hand model, the potential of a repair is comparatively higher to a first-hand model. I believe that is very clear for the students. Now, in this case, students, let's go more towards the applied thinking. So students, they have a standard verification process. A standard verification process. Everyone is very, very clear with that. And the second one, proper maintenance is done. They make sure the maintenance is done very well. And in case, if a new car is sold, they will just mention nearly new, another segment they create. Now, students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are fine with the presentation, if you are fine with the quality? Perfect. Excellent. Then, students, I am effectively going to focus on something called the position. Now, the biggest positioning challenge is the second-hand market for luxury cars. Now, I'll write down here second-hand market for luxury car. And the luxury car, if I'm not mistaken, in the case study, they're giving is Limolex. I think it's like a limousine, a long car. And car users also know that luxury cars, the biggest challenge is second hand, not easy to sell because very challenging with a high price because it's not easy. And then students, the next one, this is even more challenging after sales. Because if you observe in the customer care, their after sales was very simple. But here, they're giving something called 7 days money back. Now, this is a big challenge, 7 days money back. So revenue contracts may come into the picture, which is IFRS 15 revenue contracts. And they respond very fast. They respond very fast. They respond very fast. And the next one, students, is the online sales. They have this because for the second-hand market, the online sales are little higher. So they always have 20 photographs at the moment. Now, in future, we can have something like augmented reality also coming into the picture. And also, students, just to make your life easier to understand it very clearly, we can have a better website also, if I'm not mistaken. A better website is also possible. And also, in the website also, they are giving 7 days money back for this car. For this car, that is the, if I'm not mistaken, the used car, 7 days money back is given. So, students, if you observe, the case study is becoming very smoother for you all to understand it because you are getting the basic informations properly. Now, if you see risk and reward for the new cars, if I'm not mistaken, risk is less. Why? Brand new cars rarely become damaged or repairs. But the job profit margin is less. But here the risk is high, but the margin is also high. So that's the risk and reward works here. So students, I believe that everyone has got a clarity at the moment. If you're fine with that, students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if you are fine with the ideologies of these two? Thank you. Thank you very much. And the next one, students, if I'm not mistaken, is the next service, the parts and services. This is another thing for long-term relationship. Because students, if you observe, many car sales are successful based on this. So I'll write down here, although you may have everything, the long-term relationship is based on after-sales service. Now, Tesla. Students, you see in Asia, Tesla is not doing well. The reason is after-sales service is very poor. I believe everyone has got that understanding clearly. Now, let's come here. The basic things to keep in mind. Every dealership, every dealership, every dealership has a workshop. Has what, students? A workshop. And the risk. For some cars, generic spare parts are used. That is the biggest risk. Instead of branded. Now that is one way they catch up the profit. Now, if you are going to put branded, the profit will be less. So I will write down here IAS 37. There can be legal provisions like a car accident, students, a case study, a car accident taking place, a car accident taking place and affecting the business. And affecting the business. Can that happen, students? Yes or no? Technically, yeah, right? That can happen as well. So can I get a confirmation from your students if you are fine with that parts and services? Thank you. Thank you, students. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I am coming to the next one. The next one is not complicated. The next one is known as finance and insurance. Can I just write it down so that it will be very easy for you all to understand this part? Finance and what, students? Insurance. Now, this is a service. This is a service with another sector, that is finance, not related to automobile, supporting sector. And this is there in every automobile industry because they can earn lot of money if that is taken through a loan. Although they say EMI, zero interest, effectively the product is sold and you are generating an additional revenue also. So in this case, what do we do? Car loans. We provide car loans and we have a tie-up with Bank of what students? Bank of what students? Valence. And here, if you see, there is something called 3 years service plan. Correct, no students? Yes or no? And another thing is warranty. Now, if you see warranty, you can extend also. 3 years warranty to 7 years warranty is the period and you can pay. So I'll write down here IAS 37 warranty provision. These are like a recap that we can do, students, for your understanding. And finally, students, if I am not mistaken, this is the service we have, and our main competitor is Miltro, who is a direct competitor for us, and he has 197 dealership. This organization has 197 dealership. So, students, this is your induction session. This is your induction session. I'm not going because anyone can say strength, weaknesses, everything. That strength, weaknesses, let's come to that later. But you have to understand where you are. You are the finance manager and you need to know how the business is managing the things. So are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? Can I get a confirmation from y'all in the chat box, students? Because this is the base. Your base is this: new car sales, used car, part and services, and finance insurance. So the questions are developed from these four. And I believe that everyone has understood where our business is standing forward. And just to give you the glimpse of what we are doing at the moment, it will be very easy for y'all. We are effectively done with the section of Cuppcar. We are effectively done with the section of Cuppcar. Okay, students, we will effectively go through the news reports and the car dealership in our next session, where we will be going through a detailed SWOT. And then on our class, which is on Saturday, we will do the financial analysis. But you have to understand segmentation of our business. And one quick thing that I have to make sure it's very easy for you all to understand the board structure. Now, the unique thing they have addressed is an information technology director. So this is one thing they are effectively focusing on. And they will be effectively asking questions with regards to the cyber risk, everything. And if you see finance, we have marketing, we have chief operating officer, we have who takes care of the human resources. We have a huge number of staffs and the dealership operations, and we have the CEO as well. And the non-executive board is also given, but we are not aware about it. And our business model, as you know, they are going through the volume-based model. You sell more, earn a less margin, and you survive. So that is the model that we are effectively following, the cost advantage model. And unfortunately, they have not given any details regarding to the dealership. I think we own the land premises. We have owned it instead of started it, if I'm not mistaken. And students, this I will do a detail of this more in detail in the next class because you have understood the business function. So coming next, students, just to make your life easier, coming here, just to make your life easier, I'll just give you some idea and understanding. A good quick summary. Can I just summarize this entire thing in one paragraph so that it will be very easy for us? So as a finance manager, you have to know the summary. The summary is very simple. We are a car dealership providing new car, used car, parts and services like polishing, everything, cleaning, and finance and insurance. Very simple, very simple, very simple, easily understandable compared with the last one. Last one was little bit challenging. Airlines also was there in hotel. I believe students can remember that. And one thing, students, just to make your life even easier, exam focus, I just want to give you a topic. Sure topic can come this time. Responsibility center. Students, responsibility of students, responsibility of students center. Profit center. Then we have something called the revenue center. And then we have something called profit center, revenue center. And then students, if I'm not mistaken, have something called profit center, revenue center, investment center. Investment center. And I think I'll take out the revenue center out. And we have this one, cost center. So these questions can arise. So very easy. If we easily can target all the 4 questions that will come in the exam. But are you comfortable with the induction session we have? Because as a manager who is above you, if I do a proper induction, only you can do the operations and decision making easier. So I'll talk to my managers. So Mr. Farhan, any questions of the session? Mr. Ferdaus, any questions for the session? Mr.
No, sir.
Saeed, any
Just
questions? Thank you. Mr.
No,
Saeed, any questions for the session? Thank you. Thank
no
you.
question
Thank you.
from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much, everyone. Just again, a kind reminder, pre-scene is important, especially understanding it. And once we get into this, we'll jump into the questions and the revision of the topics. And you will find it very much comfortable to pass this paper with some skills and application. Thank you very much for your valuable time. And I will see you on the next class, which will be on Thursday. Same time. Good night, everyone.